Good evening. Welcome back to another edition of Prize Picks on Five from the Five Reasons Sports Network. I'm David Eversole, joined by Greg Sylvander. Before we start, of course, want to mention the promo code FIVE. You get a 100% deposit match up to $100. So make sure you sign up. You can deposit even $10, and they'll match you 100% on that. And use that code 5 to get a full deposit match up to $100. So glad Greg could join us here. We got a second night of a back-to-back for the Heat, obviously against one of their nemesis, the Boston Celtics. So should be interesting to see this matchup. I think Boston was about an 8-point favorite or something on the Heat's home floor. So glad to have the OG Greg here to break this game down and look for some of these matchups that maybe we could target. I want to mention one thing, the Prize Picks, you've been seeing these demons and goblins a while for the NFL, but now they just rolled them out today for the NBA. So we'll probably hit on a couple of those. I think Bam does have one on the board. So starting right there, Greg, what do you think about Bam overall in terms of this game and how he's going to match up with Boston tonight?
So I think this is a prime matchup for Bam Adebayo. I would like almost all the overs that are on the board for Bam Adebayo. As our one of our co-hosts, Eric Wadecki, keenly pointed out, he's averaging 25 over his last 5 against Boston. So that 19.5 points looks like it is a money play. I even may edge on that demon or that goblin
Right there.
and just go for it and get and cash out a little bit more. I also really like his rebounding prop here. The Heat have been switching just a bit less with him, keeping him in the paint. This was reflected last game when he had 15 boards. I think you're going to see more of that from Bam Adebayo, where the focus is rebounding, assists, things like that. So this is another play that I like a ton, but don't sleep on that goblin on his points, 24.5, because 25 in his last 5 average against the Boston Celtics, and he's going to eat against Kristaps Porzingis.
Yeah, I'm going to kind of agree with that. I think Bam's really rounding into form on both ends of the floor here. I'm going to look at Tyler. He's been really good against Boston. You look at his last 5 games scoring against Boston, 28, 9, 26, 22, 25. Mm-hmm. So I feel like he's one of those guys that's going to want to show out tonight just in terms of this matchup being a big matchup for the Heat. I would safely play him over the 19. I think they actually bumped that. This was at 18.5 earlier.
It was. You're right.
And his demon play, is at 24.5. I would even maybe take a swing at that. What do you think about these combos with Tatum? There's a few things on the board here. You got 5.5 combo threes between.
That one I like. That one I like because I think there's going to be lots of threes getting thrown up there tonight. I think the Heat are going to focus on rim pressure and shooting threes and trying to really flatten out their shot selection so that it's more evenly distributed between the mid-range three-pointer and rim, and that's going to favor Tyler getting up threes to try to create space. Tatum takes 10 threes a game, so I'm thinking that he can at least get a couple. I like that play. There's a couple unders league-wide, though, that I definitely want to call out, too.
What do you think about, real quick, before we pivot to the NBA in general, what do you think about Jimmy tonight?
Jimmy, I don't know how to play. I think he shows up big. Tonight, I think the Heat actually win against Boston. So I'm projecting a lot of these guys to play really well. Although I am a little hesitant to play Jimmy Butler props right now just because he's been in a weird funk. So I'm staying away from most of them. Is there any of them that jump out at you?
His numbers have been so low just overall. It's like I mean, 5 rebounds for Jimmy Butler. I mean, last year, years past, that would have been 6.5, 7 probably. So like you say, those all around numbers, I love this 9.5 rebounds and assists. Like if that was 10, I would maybe stay away from it, but 9.5, I could see him dropping a 6 and 4, something like that in this game. So if I was going to play any Jimmy Butler plays, which I agree with you, I'm kind of staying away from him lately, but I would take him maybe over the 9.5 points and assists. So, or rebounds and assists, excuse me. So switching to the NBA in general, what's one of your favorite at-large plays for the night?
Let me sneak one more in for the Heat. I absolutely love Derek White's over for points because Derek White always kills the Heat. So we're going to stick with that theme. But there's another one here. Benedict Mathurin is a player that I think is sneaky on the board tonight. He looks like you shouldn't take his over on points. It's 12.5 is where they have it, and this is starting soon. This is going to be a game where they're going to need him to score. They're going to really try to push the pace. I look for him to be super aggressive. I think he actually eclipses 12.5 points. This is one of those where you look at it and you say, oh, I should go under here. This is an overplay for me for Benedict Mathurin on the Pacers.
Yeah, I tend to agree with that too. I've been looking at one guy who's been kind of jumping out to me lately is Colin Sexton. And we've got
playing great.
An interesting demon play with him tonight at 2.5 threes made. This was probably my favorite demon play on the board tonight. He's kind of feast or fan, but you see he hovers right around that mark.
Yeah,
and I could see him, unless the game gets out of hand, hoisting up 8 or 9 attempts in this game. So I like him over 2.5 on the demon plays in the general NBA. And I was with Derek White too, back to the Heat Boston game for a second. I took him over just 3.5 rebounds.
That's a great play.
Yeah,
he kills the Heat. He's going to.
And Rozier wasn't on the board, which we talked about before that. You said maybe because of his role might kind of be up in the air in terms of.
Yeah, they probably don't know whether he's going to start or come off the bench, so his props are not on the board, but he is expected to play as far as the last we've heard, unless anything's changed, but I don't believe so at 6:58 p.m. Eastern.
Yeah, at this point, I think, they're probably going to roll with him. But interesting night around the association. A lot of pretty good competitive matchups is projecting tonight, especially in the East. So you got Joel Embiid, the demon play 39.5. We'll go ahead a couple of these. Look at this.
That one I'm not touching, although every time he plays, he feels like he scores 30 or 40 because he has. But that one I'm not touching. In a fast-paced Indiana game, maybe it's the sneaky one there, just with an up-tempo ball game.
Yeah. Maybe
I love Maxey in that matchup.
Yeah, you see he's been down. But these demon play, I think the lines are a little aggressive on these plays, being the first time they're rolling it out. So it's curious to see how, they adjust based on kind of the trends of these guys. It's a lot different than the NFL, just because you have such a big sample size. I mean, week to week, you have 3-4 games.
Yeah.
So you're going to see, I think, a lot of fluctuation in these demon plays, and the Goblins. A lot of those look pretty friendly, but you have to be careful with the Goblins in terms of your payouts.
You're right.
You watch those because you might just get a straight 1-to-1 payout.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So just plateaus your whole parlay basically.
Right. So I kind of don't mix the two. If you're going to play a Goblin, play it with some straight plays, to cash out rather than kind of risking it all with the demons to try to offset it. So here's Eric, Jalen Brunson. He's got his demon. He's been an absolute machine.
That's a good one to call out. I would expect that he would play well. And I actually like Jamal Murray and him combined in that game. I think that's a nice one.
Yeah, the 50.
Although that's not a goblin or a demon.
Right. But yeah, no, that seems well within reason, that play. But yeah, Brunson's been really good. If you're going to take a shot, maybe take a shot at the PRA or even the 4.5 rebounds. Rebounds are so weird with guards. It always depends, I think, so much on how the other team is shooting and where they're shooting from. If they're bricking a lot of threes and there's a lot of long rebounds. But I mean, if teams are hitting shots, a lot of these guards get kind of phased out of the rebounding. So it's interesting to take a stab on some of those higher risk plays. So we got some more comments here. So appreciate all the audience.
Harry Rozier starting confirmed. So I wish he was on the board so we could talk about him, but he's starting.
We're going to take one more peep here. No, he's still not on the board. So, check back later. Got a little bit of time before tip off, but plenty of good plays to roll with. So just to surmise, we pretty much love Bam everything. We love our random scrub heat killer Derek White tonight. I really like Tyler Hero on the points against Boston, which you saw that little bump there. I think the Sharps are kind of leaning that direction as well. So want to thank Greg and Eric for commenting. He wasn't able to join us tonight. And we'll be back for another show over the weekend. So make sure to sign up with that code FIVE. Thanks for watching.